How many mince pies did you have?
I can't divulge you. Not yet.
I lost count, about 50.
Oh!
Anyway, hello folks, welcome to the last edition of Arts Alive Film for 2014. I'm Tony Lindsay.
And I'm Tony Lloyd. What have we got for this show?
For this show, folks, we have got a first look at what's coming up next year, 2015, some of the great cinema highlights. We also take a look at Ridley Scott's biblical epic, Gods and Kings, and Unbroken, the Angelina Jolie effort about World War II grit.
And we'll also be having our usual reviews of DVDs and general chit-chat. Okay, first up we've got the Ridley Scott epic Exodus, Gods and Kings, starring Christian Bale.
Joel Edgerton as Ramesses.
What do we think?
Epic is the word. I mean, this is
Absolutely.
$140 million dollar movie. He, as you expect from Ridley Scott, you know, he's got the wide vistas, the huge panoramic lenses, etc., etc. Huge crowds, CGI to die for.
But that's about it, really, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
There's only so many helicopter shots coming off a cliff to see people in the dust in the early morning light. I mean, the guy is one of the best uses of camera and light in the business. We know that. But for me, although the sweep was there, like you've said, although the epicness was there in every single frame, I thought there was a detachment of emotion with the actual characters.
Yeah.
Did you feel
this
that?
is an epic story. Again, I'm using the word epic, obviously, but an epic story of a guy struggling with his faith. This is Moses, the guy who took on the might of the Egyptian Empire to lead his people out of Egypt. We've got Steven Zalian, who wrote Schindler's List. He's on writing duties for this. So you'd be thinking, you're expecting something a bit more than what you get. You get the scale, you get the, you know, grandeur, but you don't get the personal story. A guy struggling, as I say, with his faith.
I felt the whole thing of looking at the miracles and the plagues and everything, that they really were staying at a distance. I felt the whole thing was a bit of an intellectual exercise.
The natural history version of the plagues, you know, it's explained in detail. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there was no staff. Moses has no staff.
No
What's
staff.
going on there?
I think, folks, if you want to look at this story, go back to Cecil B. DeMille and the Ten Commandments.
Charlton Heston,
or even William Wyler, Ben-Hur. If you want to look at faith, if you want to look at how it's done properly with its courage of its convictions, then have a look at those two films. Okay, a little outdated now, but still plenty of power in those performances.
But if you are going to see Exodus, Gods and Kings, you need to see it on a big screen.
Absolutely. Okay, next up is Unbroken, Angelina Jolie's second effort as director. What do we think?
Well, big high expectations, and obviously who she is. You're wondering how she is. You know, being behind the camera and in front of the camera, two different things. Completely.
Indeed.
I mean, epic story.
Very epic story. The story of Louis Zamperini, an Olympic runner, who during World War II was interned by the Japanese and is put through hell after spending 40 odd days in a life raft in shark infested waters.
Absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't get tougher than this.
Did we know his journey was that tough? Did we feel it was that tough?
Well, we got the scenes of torture, we got the scenes of sharks attacking the life raft. You know, it's in there, but did we get the feeling? Did we get the depth of emotion? No, we did not, I don't think. No.
I mean, typically we have incredible scenes of you know, survival against these sharks, which, you know, is terrifying. And there's one particular sequence where they fend them off, and it's brilliantly handled. And yet the next scene followed on, which is a passage of time, a bridge shot, is one of the characters have got their legs dangling over the side of the boat, and it was kind of, well, what's going on there?
There's no consistency at times, or continuity even. Jack O'Connell is great in the lead as Louis. You know, this guy is one to watch. He's on the rise, a young British actor. But the script, she had help from the Coen brothers and Bill Nicholson.
You thought it'd make it really sharp.
Absolutely. Bill Nicholson was the guy who rescued Gladiator from oblivion way back when. But here, you just, like Exodus, I'm afraid to say, it just doesn't have the courage of its convictions. At the end of the day, end of the film, we're supposed to see this guy has survived this amazing journey, and he's come through unbroken with, you know, his conviction to serve God. He makes a vow to God during his plight that he will, if he survives this, he'll serve God for the rest of his days. And then we jump to the end with no more mention of that, and then we're given in a write-up that he went on to serve God. But there's
no real times. He kind of prays to God once in a very desperate situation, like you'd think you do. But it all looks handsome. Filmed by Roger Deakins.
Roger Deakins,
yeah, absolutely. So she was in very good hands. I honestly think, as a filmmaker, she's probably 1 or 2 films away from finding her true stride. She's obviously shows she can handle a production, and a big production at that. A lot of CGI in the background, but I don't think she's just hit her stride yet.
No, I'd refer you to Bridge on the River Kwai, David Lean's epic, 100%. And maybe Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence.
An absolute, to get that true feel of the horror.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, well that's the end of 2014, but what does 2015 have in store? We're here talking to Craig Richardson, one of the team at Odeon Liverpool 1, and we're going to ask him a couple of questions about what is in store next year.
Great, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you both.
Tell us a little bit about what's going to come up in 2015.
Fantastic. 2015 for film, I think, is going to be something to marvel at. And by marvel,
nice.
I know, right?
Nice.
Obviously, you've got Age of Ultron. That's coming out. That's going to be something. You know, you've had the Avengers sort of first tier of films.
This has the Avengers at loggerheads, doesn't it? They're fighting amongst themselves.
Yes,
here, I believe.
Yeah, there's a comic franchise called the Civil War, which has been led to in the films, in which a treaty is signed to say you should identify yourself. And there's a split right down the Marvel universe of people saying yes we should, and then there are people saying no, we want to keep ourselves for ourselves, and it completely divides them in twain. So then you've got Captain America and Iron Man. So I think that will make for a fantastic film.
Really dynamic. Okay, so we've got Marvel Avengers Part 2. Bond. James Bond's back next year.
So we know who your favourite Bond is. I was just going to say Timothy Dalton, obviously.
Spectre is back.
Indeed.
So that has got to be one for the...
Are you a Bond fan?
Sean Connery, all the way, I have to say. Definitely.
Okay, so rounding this up quickly, before we go to the break, folks, what else have we got? We've got Terminator.
We've got Terminator, Genesis.
Okay.
Taken 3's on the way, just along the bond line.
We saw that. Liam Neeson being hard.
Well, I think what we take from that, folks, is 2015 is going to be one hell of a year. It's going to be a bumper one.
And there's only one place to see it, and it's Odeon Liverpool 1, isn't it?
Liverpool 1, yeah.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Welcome back to Arts Alive Film, and this is the part of the show where we talk all things Star Wars. Indeed. So, next year, 2015, sees the release of
Star Wars,
The Force Awakens.
Yes, it does.
Now, I mean, I don't know about you, but where were you when Star Wars came out?
I would have been, sadly, I'm going to let you into a great secret of my age. I would have been 17. I saw the original Star Wars on, or in, at the Odeon in London Road,
London Road,
in
same
Liverpool,
as
which
me.
has sadly been demolished now.
Yeah, that's where
I saw it on its first original run.
12 years old I was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Revolutionised cinema going at the time, didn't it?
Well, it gave birth, along with Jaws, to the blockbuster.
Yeah, the summer
Or
blockbuster.
the notion of the phenomenon which is the blockbuster,
Yeah.
which we are now swamped with, aren't we? It's a regular feature.
And it revitalised the sci-fi genre as well, didn't it? That was box office poison until Star Wars.
Absolutely.
From that we got Alien, Close Encounters, Star Trek the motion picture,
Absolutely.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It just went everywhere. It
Crawl.
went ballistic. Crawl.
Crawl
Okay,
was up.
okay.
Everyone went into space.
But yeah, I mean, even to this day, even with the Marvel Universe, they owe their origins to Star Wars.
I think for me, for Star Wars was the first time I'd ever seen what you call, if you had a shot of a spaceship, obviously it'd be a model shot as it landed, and you'd have one ladder or a ramp going off camera, and then the model would take off. With this, they had full-size X-wing replicas which they could run along, touch, and get into the cockpit.
Because of course,
it's so real.
This is the film that Industrial Light and Magic was invented for, wasn't it? From there, the effects house, Lucas's effects house, Industrial Light and Magic, was created for Star Wars, which then became known as Star Wars: A New Hope, Episode 4.
Oh yeah, when we get into the bigger picture of it. What did we reckon over the second one?
Empire Strikes Back. Oh, I see you have a copy.
Yeah, here's a classic. Listen to this. Anyone who knows VHS will know this.
Yeah, that rattle. Yeah.
And this, curiously enough, is advertised in widescreen. You got to remember, your TVs were 4:3 Academy ratio, like a little box, wasn't it?
Pan and scan.
So they actually advertised that it was widescreen.
The letterbox format. Yeah.
The letterbox format. The black at the top and bottom of your picture is normal, Tony.
Yeah,
that's what they used to
indeed.
tell you, as if your TV was broke. Well, actually, that's an original.
Yeah. But Empire Strikes Back, that was beginning of the 80s, wasn't it?
I love that one.
This is where we find out who Luke's father was, and that was a major shock to everyone.
Directed by Irvin Kershner.
Irvin Kershner, the great Irvin Kershner.
Who was a mentor to
George Lucas.
Who took on producer duties for that.
Yeah, directing duties.
Kershner did, but Lucas was producing.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Gary Kurtz left, did he, after
I'm
Empire?
not sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that was another massive success, and of course you have the cliffhanger.
What a great ending.
Yeah, Han Solo in Carbonite.
Luke, minus a bit of him.
Yeah,
looking out of a window.
Yeah, we had to wait 3 years for Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. What do you think of Return?
Okay, it went off the boil a bit for me with the teddy bears. The Ewoks.
The Ewoks, yeah.
But the confrontation between Vader and Luke was good. It was quite epic.
Yeah, you were really waiting for that, weren't you?
Yeah.
I like the sequence of the rescue of Han, from Jabba's the Hutt's palace was
a bit
great.
too many Muppets in it for me, though. Too many, and then of course he went on and he did the director's cuts for all three, didn't he?
Absolutely.
And he threw every effect, every digital effect there was. We got Jabba the Hutt revisited in A New Hope.
Well, he was real. He was a real character, wasn't he, in the original?
And
then he became this big slug-like creature. But the whole thing was given a bit of a sheen, wasn't it?
Well, the thing about the thing about Han shooting first in Star Wars, shooting
that's
Greedo.
Probably, I'm really sad that they changed that.
Yeah. The fact that he couldn't see, he didn't think that Han shooting the bounty hunter was the actions of a role model for a youngster, which is didn't really play for the story.
Yeah.
But
so
the first three, yeah.
So what did we think of the
prequels.
Infamous prequels?
1999 brought The Phantom Menace. And again, George Lucas took the helm for all three, didn't he?
Right.
Attack of the Clones followed.
Directing duties, yeah.
Yeah, and Attack of the Clones, and then Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we think?
Okay. Not my favourites. I mean, I'm more for the physical effects of, say, Star Wars and.
Well, I remember Terry Gilliam, famous director, saying the best backgrounds he'd ever seen in a film. That's all he said about it.
Yeah, absolutely. That says a lot, doesn't it?
I'll be honest with you, I thought it was quite ultimately lazy filmmaking.
Yeah,
and I think that showed in you had the likes of Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor looking tired in the first one. Never mind the rest.
I think Ewan McGregor grew into his role in the third one. I thought when he goes up against Hayden Christensen as Vader, I thought that was a lovely.
I don't think there's blame with any of them. I think it has to be for the people in control.
Yeah.
So what about the new one?
We're all waiting with bated breath. I mean, it's going to be the Christmas picture of 2015. I can't wait. It's the little kid inside of me is kind of
in the hands of J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams, who's all for the physical effects rather than the digital.
Well, he helmed the Star Trek movies. Revitalised them.
Yeah, rebooted Star Trek.
But he's got a nice sense of wonder. You know, you watch Super 8, and he's very Spielberg, and he's a fan.
Yeah.
And I think the trailer
needs.
that I'm sure all of you've seen and we've seen.
Yeah.
Got us excited again just to hear that music over the logo.
Yeah,
Amazing.
John Williams' symphony.
I think it's going to be. I'm excited about this.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I can't wait to see it.
It's going to be good.
Okay, DVD review time. First off is Fault in Our Stars. Adapted from John Green's famous popular teenage novel, rom-com, cum, tragedy, drama, if you can call it that.
For Fault in Our Stars, I think it tries so hard to be, the young person's friend. In every way possible. I think if you're a young person and you haven't got much on the life experience map, then it's good.
Yeah,
it works well. It's introducing difficult themes.
It's the story of two teenage cancer
meet at a
victims.
support group. Yeah.
Meet at a support group. Romance blossoms. What gets me about this is it purports to be some kind of indie romance. It shot by Ben Richardson.
It looks like one big orange phone ad.
Yeah, it does,
sunlight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Performances, Shailene Woodley is great in the lead. Ansel Elgort as the male lead. It comes off as a young Jeff Bridges to me, which can only be a plus.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
He's got that sensibility. He's got that kind
and
of.
I think the two performances are great.
Yeah,
they're central. They can't. No, they really can't. I think what got me, or what unsettled me a bit, was it really went for. It knew what buttons to press. And it really went for the target of the tear duct. I think it really went for it.
I mean, okay,
way.
But that is movie making, is
that
it
is
not?
Movie making, yeah.
You've got Laura Dern in there. You've got Willem Dafoe in support. So there's a lot to like about this movie. Just when it got to the end, I think it's wearing its heart on its sleeve. You've got the pop song over it, and it just kind of
you kind of know
apart.
where it's going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, there is one peculiar scene in Anne Frank's house.
Yes.
Which I found
extraordinary.
Extraordinary, yeah. Well, let's use that word, extraordinary.
Extraordinary,
like
for want of a better word.
But listen, if you're of that age group, if you're young,
my daughter loved it, and my daughter's friends loved it. So
absolutely.
It knows what it's doing.
So many young people I spoke to, it was their first sort of cathartic being crying and looking at these issues of death and whatever.
And talking of relationships, let's move on to Gone Girl, our second DVD of the week. The great David Fincher. Seven.
Fight Club.
Yeah. Absolutely Social Network.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. You've got Ben Affleck.
In I think one of his best performances in a long time. It's subtle and really fine nuance. I think he really found himself in that.
And of course, he's playing up against Rosamund Pike as his wife.
I think they're both fantastic in this.
Tell us about the story.
Well, basically, it's on Ben Affleck, who plays Dick Dunn. It's his 5th wedding anniversary. His wife suddenly goes missing. Then you have this whole media circus following that, and then it really starts to question his innocence.
Yeah.
But the film's not just about that. I mean, for the first part, it's quite you think it's going to be that type of mystery, kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
But really, it starts to explore deeper things like marriage.
Yes, indeed. Relationships. There's a Hitchcockian twist to this, in that it throws up questions of identity,
Absolutely.
who we are, how well do we know ourselves in that relationship, etc. And then it gets darker, and Rosamund's performance really goes really does go dark.
But if you like it, if you like your drama tense,
yeah,
dark, I think
it's David Fincher does romantic thriller. That's about as much as you can say, and I think you get from that what you will.
I think anyone watching this, especially on DVD at home, will have a great reward.
Yeah.
I think a great rewarding experience.
Absolutely, yeah. Well worth seeing.
Well worth seeing. Okay, that's it for this week.
This year.
This year, the competition.
Competition, yes, of course. Remember last week we set you a question. What is the name of the character, the snowman in Disney's Frozen?
Easy.
Okay, easy. Okay, get those entries in as fast as you can. The closing date is January the 16th. That entitles you to free passes to see Big Hero 6 2 weeks before it goes on general release. And word is, it's a cracker.
Supposed to be a good one.
Yeah. So all that remains for us now is to wish you a happy new year, and we'll see you on the other side.
The side.
What have we got this week, Tom?
This year. Well, next.
Just start from January and work your way down.
Wait down. Should we do it again? Easy.
Well, yeah. Let's get those entries coming in, folks.
What?
And biro. Send in the biro. Okay. We're going to do that one again.
Easy.
Easy, yeah. Now get those. But I'm going back.
What are you getting in?